All right, so we talked about the substitution method for solving a system last time. This time we want to get into when a system of equations might be an appropriate way to model a scenario. So some story problems and how we can come up with two equations for our system and then go about solving. And we're still going to use that substitution method, right? So a couple of examples here for you, and we'll keep practicing these in class. But from your previous notes, from the 6.2 substitution notes that you already have, there are some story problems there in the back. First one says a snack bar sells two sizes of snack packs. A large snack pack is $5 and a small pack is $3. In one day, the snack bar sold 60 packs for a total of $220. How many small snack packs did the snack bar sell? So we don't know how many small snack packs were sold. And we actually don't know how many large packs were sold either. So those are going to be our two variables. Now we talked last time, or with the graphing method and the story problems there, about independent and dependent variables, and that's how you determine which one's your x and your y in your two equations and things like that. Here, the number of large packs does not depend on the number of small packs that were sold. I mean, we have some parameters. We know there are 60 sold and for a total of $220, and so I guess in a little bit of a way that does matter. But just because someone buys a small snack pack doesn't mean a large one has to be sold next, right? I mean, so they don't really depend on each other. So you're free to choose your variables however you want. I'm going to let x be the number of small packs and y be the number of large, okay? Now, where our two equations are going to come from are two different situations. One is the number that were sold, and the other one is the value of those packs that were sold. So if you add the number of small and large together, then you have to come up with 60 because they sold a total of 60 packs. So our first equation is simply going to be adding the two numbers of packs sold, and that has to equal 60. Now, now we're talking about the value. If I sell X number of small packs, the value, the monetary value of that many small packs is simply taking the number of packs that you sold, which is X, and multiplying it by, nope, not 5, sorry, 3, because that's how many each pack was. That's how much each pack was. Same thing with the large. The large were $5 a piece, so we take the number of large packs and multiply them by 5. And if you add those two values together, they should come up to $220. That's how much they made. All right. There's your system. And now we can approach this with the same process that we did before with solving by substitution. We need one of our equations to have one of the variables by themselves. So we know what x equals or what y equals. It's much easier if you take the first one and solve for either x or y. It doesn't matter. I'm going to solve for y by subtracting y from both sides. And when you do, you get negative y plus 60. Now I know that x equals this, so I can literally take that and plug it in or substitute it in for that x. So we get 3. I'm going to literally take that x out and replace it with negative y plus 60 plus 5y equals 220. And now it just becomes a matter of solving for y. We're going to distribute here. Then we're going to combine like terms, get 2y. Subtract 180 from both sides. And then divide by 2, and we're going to realize that they must have sold 20 large snack packs, because y is the number of large. Okay. Now that we know what y is equal to, we can plug that in for any y we want to, including that one. So we do that to find out how many small packs were sold. Well, negative 20 plus 60 is 40. So in a nice sentence structure, we would say that, actually the question was just how many small snack packs did the snack bar sell? Well, now we know they sold 40, so we'd say the snack bar sold 40 snack packs, small snack packs. And of course, always making sure that we write our answer in sentence form. Okay? All right. So our process is there. Try number 11. Take a couple of minutes. Try to come up with defining your two variables and the two equations and see what you come up with. So stop the video, write them out, and then start it back up again and see if you were able to get to the correct equations. All right, so let's see how you did. Mary has 38 pennies and nickels in her piggy bank. When she breaks it open, she finds she has $1.58. How many of each type of coin does she have? Well, you know that she has a bunch of pennies. We know she has a bunch of nickels. The number of pennies and nickels are, while there are limited based on some of our parameters, it doesn't really matter. The number of pennies is not going to tell us the number of nickels necessarily, so it doesn't matter which variable, X or Y, is which. Okay? So I'm going to let pennies be X and the number of nickels be Y. Now, again, two situations. We have to create an equation that models how the number of pennies, and then create an equation that models the value, not the number of pennies, but the number of coins, and then the value of the coins. Because if I add the number of coins up, they have to be 38. So there's going to be so many pennies, so many nickels, I add them up, and they're going to have to equal 38. Now, the value, the total value is $1.58. I'm going to write this out as cents and not in terms of dollars. So I'll make this 158 cents. The reason why is to find out the value of all of your pennies together, you would count them up and multiply them by 1 cent. Now, in terms of dollars, that would be 0.01x, and we'd start getting into decimals. But if I write this equation in terms of cents, pennies are worth 1 cent. So I can make this 1x, 1 times x. And same thing for the nickels. Instead of 0.05, I can say that's 5 cents, and so the value of the total number of nickels is y, the number of nickels, times its value, which is 5 cents. So a little bit easier to work with that way. You can certainly do the decimals if you want and come up with the same answer, but this may be a little bit easier. Okay? All right. And then we got to go solve. Right? Choose one of the equations, get one of the variables by itself. I'm going to choose to get y by itself for the first equation, just to be a little bit different from last time. So subtract x from both sides, and y is equal to negative x plus 38. Now that means, since I know that y equals this, I can take this and substitute in for any y I want, including that one. So we get x plus 5 times negative x plus 38 equals 158. Distribute your 5, because now we're just solving for x. Right? So subtract 1, combine like terms, you get negative 4x. Subtract 190, and you get negative 48. That's okay, because look, you have to divide by negative 4. And so we find out that there must have been 12 pennies. And if there were 12 pennies, we're going to go back up and plug this into, actually right here. Hold up here. Is that right? If I subtract, nope. You got to check your arithmetic here. If you subtract 190 from 158, you're actually going to get negative 32. So divide by 4, and x is going to be 8. So you're going to get 8 pennies. And if you get 8 pennies, we can plug that in here. Your y equals negative 8 plus 38, and find out that the number of nickels is going to be 30. Okay? And of course, you'd want to plug these back in. So 8, 30. Plug that back into both equations. Make sure that gives you two true statements so you know you did the problem correctly. Okay? And then we'll be in good shape. All right? All right. And then, of course, we need a nice sentence answer. How many of each type of coin does she have? Mary has 8 pennies and 30 nickels. All right? All right. One more here for you. Kind of the same process. I have 17 coins in my pocket. Some are nickels, some are quarters. They are worth $1.45. How many nickels and quarters do I have? Go ahead and set up your equations, define your variables, and solve it, and see what you come up with. And you start the video and see if you're right. Okay, did you get this? Okay, again, two situations. We don't know the number of nickels or the number of quarters, so we want to define variables. Now, we could do x and y, and what we tend to do a lot of, or you can change it up. Since it doesn't really matter, the number of nickels doesn't depend on the number of quarters, and the number of quarters doesn't depend on the number of nickels. You don't have to use x and y. You can use any two variables you want. Here, N and Q was used, N for nickels, Q for quarters. And so we're going to write an equation for two different situations. Okay, one for the total number of coins, and then the total value. Okay, and as you see here, we've got the first for the total number, N plus Q equals 17. And then in the second equation, let's see, this teacher, it wasn't me, but this teacher kept this as a value in dollars, so $1.45, 5 cents and 25 cents, and that's perfectly fine. We just need decimals, right? So now we're going to take the first equation and solve it for whichever variable you want. She chose N, so subtract Q from both sides, and you get negative Q plus 17. You're going to take that negative Q plus 17 and substitute N for the N in the other equation, which would be right here. Okay? And then you can see the work from there. Once she got down to where'd we go here? Let's see, trying to follow her work. Oh, she brought it over here. So this just came over here. So you solve all this down, follow work, and Q ends up being 3. Right? So since Q is 3, again, we would take this, substitute it back up into this Q. And so we have N plus 3 equals, okay, try that again. N plus 3 equals 17. We'd subtract 3 from both sides. And so N would be 14. Okay? So, looks like we've got 3 quarters, 14 nickels. Of course, again, you're going to want to plug that into both equations, make sure that they're true. And then you'll know for sure that, that you did the problem correctly. Okay, so there's a few story problems there. We're going to keep practicing on this substitution method. Your homework's out in Canvas. Give that a shot and make sure you do get that submitted before class next time.